Hello everybody! Hopefully you all can hear me and see me okay, but as always, let me know if you can't. I am here like a minute early because I just wanted to make sure all the tech is working and that we're good to go. I'm gonna refresh my monitor, aka my cell phone here, just to make sure everything sounds good. Okay, it looks like it does. Cool. So, today, if you guys read my emails, you kind of know I already had mentioned, I wasn't even planning on really talking about this topic this week, but after last week, I had briefly mentioned stuff about, the economy and, how to adapt in this crazy world that we're in as far as specifically with your freelance writing business, right? And I just had so much feedback on, please talk about this more. We're all worried. We're all freaking out because the state of the world, the economy, how there's, essentially a white-collar recession is what people are calling it right now. And since copywriting jobs fall into that, it's really important to understand what's going on right now, specifically how that impacts freelance writing and copywriting jobs or getting clients, basically, as a whole. So that is what we are going to talk about today. I have the chat pulled up. I know this was kind of a last-minute live, so hopefully everything is good to go. But I'm going to switch over and we're going to talk all about how to thrive during a recession or a period of economic downturn, right, as a freelance writer. Okay, switching over now and we will get started. Oh, and by the way, if you pre-submitted a question for the Q&A, I'm going to get to those at the end. And then if you guys have any other questions that come up as we go, just pop them down below in the chat. Or if you're watching the replay, hi and thanks for being here as well. You can pop your questions down in the comments below because I'm going to do my best to be very active in answering those. So let's get right into it. How can you actually thrive during a recession as a freelance writer? And I'm also going to tell you why, with proof and data, why right now is actually a really great time to get freelance writing clients. So an important note before we start. I just announced this today, actually for the first time, I think, to my email list. 2 huge things are happening on April 22nd, less than a month from now. Killer Cold Emailing 2.0 will be opening for a short time. The first 20 people on the waitlist who enroll are going to get free one-on-one coaching with me. Those spots sold out in 24 hours, actually a few hours less than that last time. So if you're even 1% interested in this, definitely get on that waitlist link. I've got it down below in the description box. I'll put it in the pinned comment after I'm done with the stream and all that good stuff. I'm also teaching a free live class on that exact same day. It's going to be much more structured, teaching style with a full slideshow than my casual live streams here. It's going to be all about how to make $5 to $8 grand a month freelance writing in a 2025 market while working part-time remote. So I won't harp on this too much. You guys know the deal. You can get the link down in the description box below, but it's going to be really good and really fun. So make sure you go ahead and sign up. So let's talk about what's been going on, because lately I've had so many writers reach out to me saying things like, thank you for talking about the economic uncertainty that's causing everyone anxiety right now. I'm anxious too. And others are saying things like, if there is a recession, how do I pivot as a freelance writer wanting more financial stability? Others are asking me, should I even start freelance writing right now? Is it even worth it with the state of the economy if things are going to go down the drain? What do I do? All valid stuff. So let's talk about all of this. And again, if you have any questions as I'm trucking along here, pop them down in the chat. But we're going to talk about all of this and break it all down, because whether you are a total beginner just wanting to start, or you're a more established writer with some experience, but you're I really want to make more money and be more financially stable as a freelance writer. Either one of those scenarios, I am here to help you with. So first things first, we got to know what we're headed into, right? So let's talk about what actually happens to companies that hire writers during recession. So in other words, these are your potential clients, right? What actually happens within those companies that affects their hiring of freelance writers? We'll talk about this. After that, I'm going to break down these 3 tips for thriving during a recession, which is how to recession-proof your niche with examples and one niche that you have got to avoid in today's market at all costs. So critical right now, so important. how to prove to clients you're worth working with in today's market, whether you're a total beginner or not, because you can do this whether you're a beginner or you have some experience, and the problem with job boards in 2025. I've been preaching for like a decade to get off of these sites like Fiverr because they're just not good for you. They're not good for me. They're not good for any of us. So we're going to talk about what you should do instead. First things first, yes, I'm bringing out the word recession here because even though economists and whatnot might say we're not technically in one, it sure feels like it, doesn't it? Like, you guys let me know. Do you get that feeling too right now where it's just like everything feels like it's kind of on shaky ground? It feels that way to me, probably because layoffs are crazy right now, for one thing. We've all seen those LinkedIn posts, and it's just so upsetting. It makes me really angry and sad. Like, honestly, I have to kind of like not go into that because it'll just turn into like a rant about like corporate America and full-time jobs. But anyway, it's awful. It's truly awful what is happening to people. Plus, it's hard as hell to find a good full-time salary job as a copywriter, and tons of other white-collar jobs too, because like I've said, a lot of people are calling this like the white-collar recession, which we're in right now, and copywriting falls into that as far as full-time jobs. Talk about that more in a minute. I actually have a friend who's a full-time copywriter but has been looking for a better paying job for like a year. A year. That's a really long time for someone who is very qualified and very, very, very good at what they do. Before 2024, you usually get a job within 2 to 4 months of applying. Lots and lots and lots of interviews, but now crickets. Bright Page, hi! Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you got to hop on. I just saw your comment literally like 5-10 minutes before I got on here. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Job boards are madness, yes. The best you can get are the content mills, and that's really, really bad, right? The content mills, we don't want to be settling for that low pay, so it's important to shift away from those if possible, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But another thing is the price of everything feels like it's increasing a lot, right? But full-time job salaries, not quite keeping up. What's going on here, right? And like I've said here, if you've been to the grocery store lately, you might have also gasped at the price of eggs this year, because I certainly have. So yeah, this all feels very recession-y, whether you want to call it that or not. Now, I know this has been a lot of doom and gloom, so I want to shift to the good news and what I'm actually here to talk about today. The good news is freelance writing actually is booming right now, and that is because past has shown recessions or times of economic downturn, while awful in general, it's terrible, we can all agree, but it's actually a really good time to be a freelance writer, whether you're starting or like you want to make a pivot and make more money. Now is a great time to do that with the state of the world and how things are going on. Let me explain with proof and data that will hopefully make you feel a lot better. And again, if you guys have any questions as I'm going, just pop them down below in the chat. But first, we need to talk about what do companies that hire writers actually do during recessions, right? Because you want to know the behavior essentially of your target clients. That's what we're talking about here. Companies that hire writers, aka your potential clients, right? There are two things these types of companies do during recessions. Okay, two things. Sometimes they'll do one and not the other. Sometimes they'll do one and then the other. Anyway, I really want you to think about this. First thing they can do is invest more in their marketing to try to get revenue back up, right? Recession is happening. They are seeing their revenue drop down. They're going to invest heavily in marketing, which is where freelance writing and copywriting falls under, to try to get their revenue back up. Another thing that they're going to do is lay off their full-time employees to cut costs. We've seen this happening the last year or so. It's been really rough. But the thing is, while terrible, these are actually very, very, very good things for freelance writers, okay? That is because, and let's look at how these things kind of like align here, right? Number one, invest more in marketing. Well, when companies do that and invest more in marketing, they look to freelance writers first, as opposed to going out and getting a new hire, because a freelancer is way cheaper and lower risk than a new hire. That's even if this freelancer is like seriously top of the line rates. That is still so much freaking cheaper than them taking on that risk of hiring someone new, training them, all that stuff. So I really, really want you to understand that companies are looking for freelance writers during times like this. Now, number two, they lay off their full-time employees. Well, when that happens, when layoffs happen, what happens next? That copywriting work is not just disappearing, okay? It is very much still there, and companies have to have copy to survive. Your target clients, at least that you're going to be pitching, they need copy to make money. And that's all it's about. How can you help the client make money, right? So anyway, when they lay off their full-time copywriters, the work doesn't disappear. So again, because a freelancer is cheaper and lower risk than hiring a full-timer, they are going to go and look for freelance writers. Let me link this to a Facebook group of budding copy and content producers. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, I know. I've been doing just like last minute live streams, so it's totally cool. A lot of people I know like to watch the replay. So thank you so much for that, though. I really appreciate it. So kind of the bottom line here, right? All this stuff together, the thing I want you to know is a recession or a period of economic downturn is actually a huge opportunity for you as a freelance writer. Even if you're an aspiring freelance writer, right? Oh my gosh, please don't put this off. Please start now, because it is such a great time due to these two things that companies are doing, either investing more in marketing or laying off their employees. Both of those things lead to them hiring way, way more freelance writers. And some more good news that backs all this up, the data actually says 2025 is an amazing time to be a freelance writer. So you guys might have seen me share some of these statistics recently, but in case you haven't, Ripple, an on-demand marketing platform, shares that 92% of companies expect an increase in the number of engagements with freelancers in the next 24 months. 92%, that is almost all the companies. And this is a statistic, I believe, from mid-2024. So we're already in this period of growth and opportunity for freelance writing. Experts also predict that by 2027, over half the US workforce is going to be freelancing. It really is the future, and we've got to get in now, because what you don't want to do is wait and then it's like everybody's already doing it and you're kind of feeling behind or whatever. Really important to get in now. Forbes also said the gig economy is gaining unprecedented momentum. There is a profound shift toward independent work and hiring freelancers. All this stuff is great, right? It's great for us freelance copywriters and writers, because freelancing is literally the future of work. The gig economy, everything, that is where things are heading. We have seen the writing on the wall for a while. Since 2020 hit, everything changed, and the way we work changed, and the way companies hire, all of it changed. So this momentum means that we're at a very unique and important point in time right now, and those who adapt now are going to be the writers who get ahead of that curve, ride out this wave of opportunity that comes with being a sought after freelance writer. So that means if you've been waiting to start putting it off, I want to really encourage you to do it now. No more procrastinating, okay? I have a lot of free resources on my YouTube channel, and you can also sign up for the free training I'm doing next month down in the description box. Alternatively, if you're already freelance writing but you just want to make more money, now is the time to pivot your marketing to thrive in a 2025 market. Okay, so whichever group you fall into, I am here to help. So let's talk about the tips. How are you going to take advantage of both the benefits for freelance writers of the economic downturn, basically, and these statistics that are showing right now is a great time to be a writer? How are you going to take advantage of this? Well, step number one is recession-proof your niche. Recession-proof your niche, okay? In 2025, what I want for you is to have a niche that is profitable, AI-proof, and we're taking it a step further now, recession-proof. The way I used to teach this, it was just like, you need a profitable niche. Here's the tips for how to do that. That is not a modern way to teach it though, so that's why I've updated this to also include AI-proof and recession-proof. These are two things we need in a 2025 market. And just as important, and this is so important, like if you only take one thing away from this, let it be this. You also, within your niche, need to go after a target clientele in that niche that actually has money to spend, actually has a budget and the demand for what you do. So important to do this, so incredibly important. I'm going to talk about way more in depth about what makes a niche profitable and AI-proof in my free live training on April 22nd. Sign up down below now. But in the meantime, let's talk about what makes a niche recession-proof. because the truth is there is a lot of overlap. Hi, Albert. Thanks for being here. You say, so the boards haven't changed much then. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I would say job boards have gotten a lot worse in the last couple of years. Like back when I started out, I had a couple job boards, not like Fiverr and stuff like that, but I had a couple of like good quality job boards that I would visit like every day just to see if there was anything in my niche there. But they're just so slammed now with like, you know, people are getting 100 applications, you know. So what we want to do is pivot from applying for jobs to pitching our target clients as a freelance writing business owner. From applying to jobs to pitching and cold emailing. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll talk about that more in a minute. But let's get back to the niche conversation because it's really important. So at the beginning of this, I told you I'm going to let you know what we're not going to do in 2025. Okay, obviously you can do whatever you want to do. But what I would recommend is do not specialize in SEO articles or call yourself an SEO content writer on your writer website. Do not do this. The reason why, sure, these gigs used to be okay to kind of break into freelance writing and get experience or whatever, maybe like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Now, these low-paying gigs are often the first to get removed when budgets get cut or they're replaced by AI or they're outsourced to even cheaper writers. So if this is your niche, danger, warning, it's probably time to switch it up. I would definitely consider making a change, even if you're like SEO articles for entertainment industry and you have a more narrow niche than that. I would recommend at least planning a shift for this year or the next 6 months or whatever time frame works for you. So let's talk about what you do want to look for in a niche during a recession or, as I've said, a time period of economic downturn. I'll be using the term recession for the sake of being concise in this video. So what do you want to look for in a niche during a recession? Stability, budget, and demand. I've got these things highlighted here because they're really, really important. It's so critical to think about this during times like right now. This is what you want to look for. Stability means companies that are still making money. If you go and pitch a struggling broke company, you will be a struggling broke writer. Say that again. If you go and pitch struggling broke companies, you're going to be a struggling and broke writer. We don't want that, right? We don't want that for you. I want you to make a great living while working as little as possible. So that's why it's important to make sure your target clients are companies that are still making great revenue even during tough economic times. The second thing, budget. Your target clients in your niche have to have the budget to pay you well. They can want your copy all day long, but if they don't have a budget more than $10, you don't really want to work with them, right? And number 3 is demand. Target clients who have a demand for copy, more specifically, the type of copy that you create, whatever type of copy you are selling. This is so important. So if you guys have any questions about this, please pop them in the chat. I'll probably answer some as we go, but then we'll do a little Q&A at the end. Those are always fun. Stability, budget, and demand, though. Those are the things that we got to be thinking about. So let's talk about stability with your freelance writing niche. First, you got to think about the types of companies that are still thriving even when the economy struggles or it's down or whatever. Examples of this would be healthcare, insurance, mental health care. I mean, you can just see how that kind of works, right? It might kind of get your wheels spinning like, oh yeah, like if I sit down and make a list for like 15 minutes, I can probably make a list of companies that are still doing well or doing well pretty much all the time, because people always need healthcare, people always need insurance, people always need mental health care. I cannot speak today for some reason. People don't stop needing this stuff when money is tight, right? Even if money is tight and the economy is kind of in the shitter, for lack of a better term. So these types of niches tend to be really good, stable options during a recession, okay? Here's the thing though, and this is really important because I'm giving you these topics, right? Healthcare, insurance, mental health. 3 good examples. That being said, in a 2025 market, and I always worry people will do this, that's why I don't do it as much anymore, because I notice people would do this. In a 2025 market, one of the biggest mistakes you can actually make related to your niche is watching a video like this one and then picking a niche you were told was good, like the ones I just mentioned, and then just thinking that's going to be enough to get you clients, okay? That is not how it works, and the reason is because you can't just go up here and go, okay, someone told me, mental health is a good niche, so that means if I just niche into that, everything's going to be good to go. That is not the case. The reason why is you must also pick a profitable target clientele within that niche, okay? You've chosen your stable niche topic that is recession proof. You got to take it a step further in today's market and pick a profitable target clientele within your niche that has a budget and the demand for what you do. Especially during times of economic downturn, this is so critical. And then you also got to market your niche and email the right people the right way. So something missing from this or not doing this is pretty much the number one mistake I see writers make that stops them from being successful. But it is a really common thing, this 1, 2, 3 list up here that people do. They'll watch a video and be like, okay, someone told me, mental health was a profitable niche, so I specialize in it. Why am I not getting clients? Well, you either don't have a profitable target clientele within your niche, you're not pitching the right way, your website's not optimized properly. The thing about marketing in 2025 is it's like an entire ecosystem. So you can't really just kind of pick and choose a tip from here and there. You got to have everything working together to ultimately get you clients. Leon says, good, I'm here. Awesome. Thank you for being here, Leon. Albert says, SEO, I don't have any experience with that personally. I work for publications. That is great, Albert. I mean, if it were me, I wouldn't be getting into that kind of SEO content writing right now. So keep writing for those publications. SEO was strong for like 20 years and AI search killed it. Yeah, it's been huge changes. Like the content writers, quote unquote, I know, who are doing really well right now are not just doing like the content writing we would see, 5 years ago, even 2 or 3 years ago. It has evolved. Like people who are doing content writing for big companies and getting paid like $800 a blog post, they are getting that because they are adding subject matter expert interviews, really unique things to their blog posts you can't get anywhere else. It's not just about the SEO articles and like ultimate guides as much anymore. So thank you for bringing that up. So true. So let me see where I was. Okay, so back to your profitable target clientele within your niche. So important. This is highlighted. It's one of the most important things that I'm going to teach you today. So listen up if you're zoning out a little bit. Here is why. Here is why having a profitable target clientele, not just a niche, but a clientele within that niche is so critical. The same exact niche industry could either be very profitable or very unprofitable, all depending on the target clientele you choose. Profitable, not profitable. 10K a month, struggling to make 1K a month. These two things can happen at the same time in the same niche. So let me show you an example. I told you mental health is like a pretty good niche topic to get into right now, right? But we've got to take it a step further and pick a profitable target clientele. So here's an example. Mental health writer 1 might cold email a therapist who has a practice with 2 people total, okay? The result of that, they're going to get offered maybe $50 to write a blog post. It's probably going to be a really hard sell. It's going to be a struggle, like it may not be as regular of work. On the other hand, mental health writer 2 cold emails a large healthcare technology company in the mental health space. Let's imagine this company has like 500 employees. They have an app. They're a big health tech company in the mental health space. They might get offered $500 to write the same exact type of blog post, okay? What is the only difference here? And by the way, this happens even if these 2 writers have the exact same skill set. What is the difference here? The budget and the demand. This is what I harp on in so many of my videos. I'm so sorry to be repeating myself for the zillion time for you guys who do watch a lot of my videos, but I harp on it because it's important. Budget and demand with your target clientele, okay? Budget and demand. A therapist who has a practice with 2 people total, they may not be making enough to like pay you $500 in blog posts. And that's cool. That's okay, right? It just means that's not who we want to target. On the other hand, if it's like a big healthcare technology company in the mental health space, they're pumping out like 10 blog posts a week already. They've got a full copywriting team. That shows they have demand for blog posts, right? And because they're a big company, they have a budget for it as well. So these are, do want to have a disclaimer here. These are kind of like generalizations. You could get a really great gig writing for a therapist, and you could have a really shitty gig writing for a healthcare technology company. But I'm just trying to teach you how to think about this when you are figuring out your target clientele. Hello everyone who just joined, by the way. We had a little wave of people coming in. Welcome. Leon says marketing is very, very important. I'm starting up as a writer. I did WordPress for a couple years and working on my tech blog as a solo writer. That is awesome. WordPress is a great skill to have. You can build out your writer website on WordPress. That's amazing. Bright Page says people need mental health care more than ever in a downturn. Absolutely. I mean, I think we all need it right now with the state of the world, especially after all we've all been through since 2020. It's been a little bit crazy. So mental health, good niche topic in general, but like I've said, we also want to take it that step further and make sure that we're having a profitable target clientele too as well. Hi Joey, welcome. Joey says thank you for having us. Well, thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'll say this again because I know a lot of folks just hopped on, but if you have any questions that come up as we go, just pop them in the chat. I really love helping you guys out. And I want to make sure that everyone feels like they got their questions answered and like I just want you guys to like feel empowered during this very strange time in the world and in life or whatever. I want you to feel empowered to go create your own income and not kind of, worry too much about, oh, is freelance writing down right now? What if this, what if that? Like, I just want you to know it's such a great time to pursue this. You got to do it the right way. But if you do, it is a really, really great time. Oh, and I did want to let you guys know too. I won't harp on this too much, but I do want to let you know because a lot of my students have been like loving this. I added this to Killer Cold Emailing 2.0 last year, actually. They've been loving it. I actually created a niche finder AI bot for my program where you access the bot. You will put in your niche idea there, which you can choose from my list, or you can choose from a video like this one if you want to validate it. That bot will validate the profitability of your niche, tell you what you should charge to work 25 hours per week or less. You can put in however many hours you want to work per week, and take it a step further and tells you the best target clients, and it can even gather some of their contact info for you. So it is a really cool thing. It's a really cool thing. Obviously, I'm biased because I made it, but I made it based on what you guys have been asking me for. So get on that wait list now. Killer Cold Emailing is opening April 22nd, 2025. That's just a few weeks from now. And remember, the first 20 waitlisters to join are getting free one-on-one coaching from me, which sold out very fast. So even if you're just like this much interested, definitely get on the wait list. Let's see. Look at emerging markets. So many opportunities in biotech. Yes. Oh my God. That is a really good point. Also, home services. Absolutely. I always tell my husband this, but I was like, if I was going to start a business right now, I would probably start like an HVAC business. Do you guys know what that is? I didn't know what that was till like a few years ago when my HVAC system needed a repair desperately. But I live in Oregon where people don't all have ACs yet. And as we know, things are getting hotter outside, right? So they're needing air conditioning installs. So I don't know why I just went on a really long rant, a little long side rant about that. But I think it just goes to show that, yeah, any kind of home service, plumbing, electrical repair, yeah, those can be potentially good target clients. A lot of them are local businesses, so they're going to want probably different types of things, and they may not always have the biggest budget, but it's a great client to start with, absolutely. Joey says, thanks for the shout out and for inspiring all of us. So many focus and practical tips. That is awesome. It's good to hear. I'm so glad to help. And as always, you guys have any questions, pop them below. Leon says I started writing back in 2008. Oh my gosh, throwback. That is a long time ago. A free blogging site before it was purchased by Google. I remember Blogger. Man, those are the good old days. Does anyone remember Zanga? I probably just aged myself, but Zanga was a vibe back in the day. Emmanuel says, do you think screenwriting for short films is a good niche? Thanks for any help. So Emmanuel, I love this question. I would not recommend that as a freelance writing niche per se. So when we're doing freelance writing, we want to be targeting businesses, you know what I mean, who want to pay a lot for copywriting, essentially. What I would recommend, and obviously you do what you want to do. I always want you to make your most empowered decision. But what I would personally do is the same way I approach my own creative writing projects. My fiction and flash fiction and short story writing is a totally separate thing from my freelance copywriting business or my course business or whatever. Okay, it's a totally separate thing. What I like to recommend to people, or at least say, consider this, right, is to have a freelance writing business that is just like focused on making your income. And use that writing business to fund your passions, like screenwriting or fiction writing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think for me, that's my own personal way that I approach it. And I think, let's see, while scripting short films can be something people do want, it may be hard to go like, oh, I'm going to get paid for this and I'm going to get a whole bunch of clients doing this. Now, I'm never going to tell you that you can't, right? I never tell anyone they can't do anything, right? I'm like, if you want to do it and you put your mind to it, go do it. But for me, I'm just telling you like my own approach to it. I think something really cool to consider, Emmanuel, would be VSLs, video sales letters. I don't know if you're familiar with that, or doing like some kind of video scripting like that is just like, this is how I'm going to make my money. And then I'm going to throw all my free time and extra income from making that money into my passion for screenwriting. So I hope that helps. So glad the ultimate guide fad is out. Oh my gosh, yeah, me too. I used to write those back in the day as a thing. Like, I wrote those for a good portion of my career, and I don't do it anymore. Let's see. Yeah, those are good tips. Bright page about going for bigger companies with more to spend. Absolutely. Yeah, video editing. Oh my gosh, yes. Huge right now. Albert says, I lived in Seattle years ago. I don't recall an AC in my apartment either. Yeah. AC, not always easy to come by here in the Pacific Northwest, but I have one, thank God, because I don't like the heat. It's part of why I left Texas. Yes, I know what Zanga is. That was the vibe back then. It really was. Like, what a simple time. What a time to be alive. Yes, I remember Zanga. How do you establish expertise in something like HVAC that you don't actually do? This is a really good question. Oh, and we have another question about the top 4 or 5 niches. Okay, so let me answer both of these real quick, and then I'll keep going. So how do you establish expertise? What I recommend, Joey, and this is something I teach inside of my Killer Code emailing program. I don't know if you're in there, but if you are, watch the lesson called How to Build a $5,000 a Month Freelance Writing Business. It's like kind of a blueprint or roadmap lesson. But what you want to think about, Joey, is when you are starting, you don't need any experience in a topic, right? Because we're all, right, as writers, we're all researchers, right? So you actually don't need any experience. There are very few exceptions to that. Like if someone is wanting like a hardcore medical writer, yeah, they may want you to have like a nursing degree, but that is exceptionally rare. I have written about ultrasound technology, real estate, pest control, so many things I had zero experience in, but I just researched it and learned it. So what I recommend, Joey, is you pick your niche topic in the area you want to specialize in. You go ahead and set up a freelance writer website that is fully optimized for that niche area, and you just start pitching clients in that niche. I know it feels backwards, especially if you're new to this. You're like, oh my gosh, but like, I don't know that much about this and all that stuff. But the thing is, you don't ever have to worry about having as much knowledge as your client. It's just about having enough research abilities to do the job. So what I recommend is starting small. Like if you were doing HVAC, right? You would want to research where's the demand as far as their copy. If it's a local company, they may want some like SEO pages for their website so they can get high up in the Google searches, right? You would want to research that first. And I would just start pitching small local companies. Pitch a guest post about the topic you're interested in if you want. Get 2 to 3 writing samples And then things kind of snowball from there is what I see happen. Like once you get that first small client, then you can get a testimonial from them. You'll feel more confident because you know more about the topic. You've actually written about it. And then things just kind of build and build and build from there. That's such a long topic. I should probably just make a whole other dedicated video about that. So hope that helps at least a little bit. It's hard to explain without like a visual aid. Let me answer this one more question before we keep it going here and talk about how to prove to clients you're worth working with. What are the 4 or 5 most profitable niches? Do you see those changing much due to AI influence? So right now, I don't necessarily have a list of here's the top 4 or 5, right? I mean, I think healthcare, for example, is great. I think mental health, helping insurance companies, real estate to a certain extent, those companies that are really stable right now are like good niche topics. The main thing about AI is it's taking over those SEO article type of jobs. So that's like the main reason why I personally don't do blog post content writing anymore. Even if I was getting paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for that in the past, I just don't think it would be the case anymore. I don't feel good about that as a niche anymore, right? You can still start out there. I hesitate to share where I'm at because I've been doing this for like 10 years. So it makes sense to pivot. You can definitely still start out doing blog posts, but long term, I think it would be a good idea to pivot. Let's see. Yes. Oh my gosh, I need the niche bot. Yeah, it's been one of the things I've got the most positive feedback on when I updated my program, Killer Cold Emailing, last year with all the pre-built marketing assets. I heard too late about Zanga. Yeah, like I said, I totally just aged myself, but that's okay. It's easier now to write niche projects because the internet. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, Albert, thank you for bringing that up because you hit the nail on the head there. When I started as a writer over 30 years ago, I had to research books. That is it. That is the point. That is what I should have said instead of going on like a 5-minute rant about something totally different. But yeah, it really is how it is, right? It's kind of like if you're writing anything, like say you're writing a fiction novel, like not all fiction writers who write science fiction are scientists, right? They went and they researched it and they filled in their knowledge gaps. And we got to do the same thing as freelance writers. Okay, I'm so glad that makes sense, Joey, because I was like, am I even like forming any coherent thoughts right now? I wouldn't have thought of starting with a local company given their lower budget, but that makes sense from a trust standpoint. Absolutely. You don't have to start with a low company. Typically, I say that I reference that in my course because a lot of people who come into my paid program, Killer Cold Emailing, are beginners and they are really, really scared to do this and they're really struggling confidence-wise. If you're struggling confidence-wise or you're just like, let me just dip my toe in to make sure I feel comfortable with this, starting with a small local company is great. That's what I did when I started out. And then you just kind of pivot and grow from there. The most important thing is like kind of knowing when to pivot and going, okay, like where am I at? What do I feel comfortable with? How do I go on from here? Okay, let's move on to step 2. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for all the great questions. I love seeing y'all and hanging out with you, so I really appreciate it. Step 2 is prove to clients that you are worth working with in today's market, right? So we've talked about the AI-proof, recession-proof, profitable niche. Now we can't just have that niche and have it up here in our brains, right? We've actually got to market ourselves online and prove that we're worth working with. So a lot of writers who come to me think, gosh, if I just had more samples, if I just had experience, I could finally get clients. But samples and experience, while great and absolutely helpful, it's not really the thing that gets you hired because clients don't actually need the best writer or the most experienced writer. They need someone who feels safe. Safe is the key word, who feels safe to hire. In other words, they trust you, especially during a recession. They want to hire, and this is highlighted bright ass yellow for a reason. They want to hire someone whose writer website and cold email they can take one glance at and go, yes, this is the right person to help me specifically. Not to help anyone and everyone, not to help me and like 5 other types of companies, me specifically. So incredibly important to know this as well. So what proves you're worth working with? Not a huge portfolio, okay? You actually don't even need more than 2 or 3 writing samples. in your niche. They've got to be niche relevant, but that's all you need. You don't need this massive portfolio. You don't need perfect branding. Please don't even waste a fraction of a second creating a logo or stressing about the colors of your website, because it doesn't matter at first. And you don't need 10 billion testimonials. You don't even need one testimonial if you're just starting. What you do need after you've got your niche and your target clientele is a simple business website that positions you as the best fit for your one profitable target client and sells your services properly. So your business website, not a random portfolio, not a resume, not formatted like that. It's a sales tool. It's actually a conversion engine. That should be the purpose of your writer website in 2025, to convert the clients you cold email. That is it, right? Most writers, though, they don't have this. Even folks who have been writing for years, who are stuck with low-paying content writing gigs, oftentimes what I see, it's something wrong in their marketing. They're not bad writers. Like, they're not bad writers. They're not making crap pay because they suck at writing. They're making crap pay because they haven't modernized their marketing. They're still using outdated marketing methods like Fiverr, LinkedIn DMing, Facebook groups, things like that. Joey says, yes, it makes a lot of sense. That's good. And they might be more forgiving if you're not an expert. Absolutely. Research is important, Leon is saying, when it comes to writing. I'm working on a novel about history. That is so cool. And the undead. Oh my gosh. That sounds so cool. Please email me if you get published or self-publish or whatever you do. Please let me know. I love supporting fiction writers. If y'all don't know, I do write fiction as well. Currently working on my novel, so we'll see how that goes. I'm curious, you mentioned earlier, this is Albert, not to pitch writing services to struggling companies. How much research should you do on a company or firm before trying to solicit or pitch them? That is a great question, Albert. I think it's less important if you're a beginner and you're in that situation I was telling Joey about, where you're like, I just need a client because I'm anxious and I'm unconfident and I just want one little gig to give me the confidence to do this. At that point, it's just kind of just pitch someone and get it out of your system, because you're going to feel a lot better after you do, right? But for someone like you, Albert, who's been writing for a very long time, I would definitely do a little bit more research. So actually, inside of my Killer Cold Emailing program, I have a series of lessons that contrast two different approaches to cold emailing. One is called the wide net strategy, and one is called the single line strategy. Okay, so this is like a fishing analogy, right? The wide net means you are just doing a numbers game. A lot of the time it's that situation where you're new to this and you're just I'm going to send as many cold emails as I can today without over-researching, because I'm new and I just need to get this shit done and get my first gig, whatever. The one-line strategy, on the other hand, is much more about precision. It's much more about, okay, I'm a little more experienced now and I'm at the point where I don't want to just cast a wide net and see what I catch. I want to go after this one dream client. So it sounds like that might be kind of where you're at, I'm guessing. I would recommend, if you go with that one-line strategy, in other words, you're just casting that one line for that one big dream client, definitely research them. Definitely, I don't want you to spend 20 minutes researching a client or whatever, unless it's just a huge dream client and a rare thing. But I would definitely say research a little bit if you can about how they're doing. Even something like company size. Do they publish the type of copy you want to write? Do they have a copywriting team? These can be huge indicators that they value what you do and have the budget for it. So those are kind of the two base things we always want to come back to when we're researching. Of course, anytime we cold email, we're not always going to be able to go, I know 100% this client wants to hire me and has the budget and demand, but we can make our best educated guess by looking at things like their copy production team, how many employees they have, if they're funded, if they're a startup, for example, things like that you can research. Bright Page is saying, Jordan, I'm bad with discovery calls. Me too, don't worry. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a writer, not a talker, but the rich ones call. Yes. How do I qualify a warm prospect while maintaining my ADHD? Overeager. Cool. That is that's such a huge question. I need to write down to make a whole video on this, because I get a lot of anxiety around client phone calls as well. I had I had my Apple Watch on and I was tracking my heart rate, and I literally would look at a graph after I would do a client call, and my heart rate was just a line that skyrocketed upwards on that graph while I was taking the call with the client. It's just, I think part of it is just accepting, like, this is an anxiety-inducing thing, and that's okay. That's something that helps me. I think another thing that helps, I have something inside my program called the QRS tool. It is basically a strategic, like, note that you have out in front of you that has information that you can quickly reference, like your niche, just like an elevator pitch, one sentence, what you do in case they ask you and you don't want to just like trip over your words. You'll write a little bit about the client. It's much more detailed inside the program, but I think it could be really good to just make a note for yourself, a quick reference sheet. That's what the QRS means, basically. It's a quick reference sheet that you have. It's just like your little comfort blanket during a client call. At least that's what it is for me. Look at the guy who wrote those books like Power Seduction. Green is his name. He's not a world leader, nor does he seem amazingly attractive, okay, but he became an authority. Yeah, I don't know if I know about those books. They sound kind of familiar, but I'll have to look into that. But yeah, research. That's how you become an authority. Research and then doing it, and the more you do it, the more authority you build, and it just kind of builds and builds, and you get those bigger clients over time. Do you recommend running Google Ads to get clients to your website? I do not at first. The thing is, and again, as always, want you to make your own empowered decisions. If you want to experiment with this, you can do whatever you want to do. What I recommend though, typically, if you're a new writer and you haven't validated your niche with cold emailing and you don't know that your website is optimized to sell, things like that, you don't want to run ads yet. Validate your niche. Get your site optimized to sell. Make sure that it converts first, right? And you can do this by just sending a handful of cold emails if you do it the right way. Very, very important. After your niche is validated and you're like, yes, I know this is a good target clientele, because with ads, targeting is so critical, right? It's like the biggest thing. After you've validated your niche and target clientele and your website is proven that it's converting, then that can be a good time to consider ads. Okay. I'm going to keep going and then I'll get to more questions. But thank you guys for all the amazing questions. Again, like you guys are making my brain work today. So thank you for that. I actually really enjoy it. So back to this website concept, right? This is how you prove in 2025 you are worth working with. In 2025, today's market, an effective writer website is not a resume. It's not a portfolio. It's not yourname.wordpress.com. It is a strategic business website specifically built and optimized to convert the specific type of client you're cold emailing. That is it, period. It's not there to be cute and have the best branding. It's not there to post your resume or, share about your fiction projects. I know that sucks to hear because I'm a fiction writer too, so I get it. But what we've got to do is make our writer website a conversion machine. Period. That is it. Again, the sole purpose of this website is to convert the target clients you're cold emailing, which should be profitable target clients in a profitable AI-proof, recession-proof niche. That is it, period. Like if you were doing this, you're like ahead of 99% of writers. So important. I actually call this writer website the client converter website because that's what it's built to do. And this is my own proprietary strategy. It's a 5-page website. Simple but not easy, right? It's like a simple thing. 5 simple pages, but every page is optimized a very specific way. More like a sales page, honestly, or a landing page than just a portfolio or what you would think of as a portfolio, right? So I have used and tweaked and tested this strategy for a decade. I do give my Killer Cold Emailing 2.0 students a one-click install version of the entire freaking thing, which is another thing I've gotten so much positive feedback on. Like last year, you guys were like, we don't want more course lessons. We just want you to do it for us. So I built the whole freaking website for you guys, including exactly what to say on every page. The waitlist, again, for the course is down below. So definitely hop on that now. If you want to get free one-on-one coaching, the first 20 to join will get that free one-on-one coaching with me, which is a huge deal and sold out really fast last time. But basically, how this works is you drop in the website template. I have 10 minutes here, but honestly, I think it would take 5. Fill in the blanks in the copy template. I've got 40 minutes. Some people it might take 20. Some people it might take 90. But basically, the outcome is your website can go live in as little as an hour or less, sometimes more. But even if it took a long time, 2 or 3 hours, like that is so much better than spending weeks on it. And then at the end of those weeks, you don't even know, like, is this actually going to convert? Is it optimized to sell? I don't know. So this solves all those problems. And it's only available inside my Killer Cold emailing program. So definitely get on that wait list down below. Even if you're just like this much interested, or like, I don't know if I'm going to want to join, but I'm like a little interested, definitely get on the wait list, because I'm going to be doing some really fun stuff when the cart opens on April 22nd. Our Good says, what is the wording I need to add when putting together a contract for a client? Oh, I wish I could help you with this, but I cannot give like legal advice on contracts or things like that. I do recommend Honeybook. Honeybook.com, I think is all it is, for contracts. So you can definitely check that out, and that should be helpful. Bright Page says, awesome, love crossover writers. It seems harder than either or. Amazed by anyone who has the... Yeah. Let's see. Oh, hold on. My chat is just like, it just like glitched out. Okay. There it goes. We're back. Okay. Let's see. I had used a typewriter the only time in the late 90s in my dad's job. It is cool, but I would say do not be afraid to make errors. Oh my gosh. I've never used one. I've always been like, that would be really cool to have one. Like maybe go get one. I don't even know where you would get that. I'm sure they have some really fancy ones online, but I don't even know if I've seen a typewriter in person. It's phone phobia. Yes, I get more excited than anxious, but then I can't slow down my mouth and I forget to listen and I'm rude by accident. That's totally okay. And I think too, like a lot of the times we're a lot harder on ourselves than we need to be, right? Like they probably aren't noticing it as much as you might be noticing it. I've recorded my own calls myself just to like improve, like recording Zoom calls and then watching it back. Oh gosh, as hard as that is, because I just like cringe watching those things back sometime, but at the same time, for me, it was a helpful exercise because I was like, okay, like it wasn't perfect, but I was also being a little bit too hard on myself. Great idea to script some bullet points and questions for them to ground my conversation. Absolutely. You can put a quick reference, even if you need to put a little note like, you've got this, like a little pep talk for yourself, or like reminder to slow down, or whatever helps you. I think that is so great. One of those things that can be really helpful. Our Good says, thank you for this information. You're awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry I couldn't help more on the contract stuff. It's just I can't help with like legal type things. So I hope that makes sense. Joey says, and Jordan, I read that the neural response. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've been learning about that. I've been doing like a lot of somatic and well, basically those types of classes and stuff like that in the past couple years. So learning about, what is it called now? I'm not going to be able to think of it. Neuroplasticity. Yeah, rewiring your brain and stuff. All that stuff is really cool. But yeah, you can trick yourself into thinking you're excited in a positive way. That is helpful. I use that tip a lot. Okay, so we talked about the Client Converter website. Now, I told you the course is opening next month, basically. But in the meantime, let me share a really simple tip. I'm actually just going to share an image of exactly what the top of your writer website should look like to convert in today's market. This is a tip directly from my Killer Cold Emailing 2.0 program. So, here's the tip. This is really important. And if you guys want to like type out what you would put in your header section and have me give you feedback on it, if you have any questions about this, I'm here to help. So let me know. Basically, what you want to do is at the top of your website, right? The second your website loads, I'm going to go a little off topic for a minute because I think this is going to be helpful. What happens is something I call the 3-second test. Your writer website needs to pass the 3-second test. What that means is when a client loads your website and they're looking at it, within 3 seconds, they need to know who you are, who you write for, and how you can help them. Specifically, they need to know you're a good fit for them. So how do we do that? How do we like reverse engineer our website based on marketing psychology and client buying behavior, essentially? You want to do it like this. Optimize your hero section with a photo of you. It doesn't have to be a great photo. It can just be, I held up my phone and I was standing against a brick wall and there's my face. It also needs the type of copy you write. Landing pages, blog posts, email newsletters, etc. Who you write for and how you help them. SaaS companies, health tech companies, finance companies. How do you help them? What is the business outcome? More leads, more paying customers, more brand awareness, etc. So here's a really good example of that. Hi, I'm Jordan. There's a little picture of me. I write landing pages, what I do, that help SaaS companies, who I help, get more leads and paying customers. Business result. Already, we've passed that 3-second test with just, well, one sentence. I know it's technically 3 sentences here, but we're going to say one sentence because that's like the main thing other than, hi, here's my name. So this is what I want to recommend for you guys. Put this in the hero section of your homepage of your writer website. And you can see how strategic this is, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm putting like an artsy random thing here at the top of my website. It's not like something you do based on guesswork. Like these things you're putting here are strategically, specifically put here so that you pass that 3-second test so that they keep scrolling and want to learn more about you and eventually convert and become one of your clients, paying clients, okay? This is how you do it. Bright Page says, love that your advice is always fun, relaxed, down to earth, and very actionable in a practical, achievable way. You can use that as a testimonial. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm out here trying, so it's always good to hear when it resonates. I need to trick myself into becoming an expert, but thank you for all your advice. Yeah, you're so welcome. And thank you also for you guys who are like giving advice in the chat too. Like that is great. The more the merrier. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about this writer website section, anything with your website, pop them in below. If you're watching the replay, pop them down in the comments because this is so important. Like your website is how you sell. Like you can have your niche and your target clientele and all the profitable pieces inside of your brain, but what happens is the client can't see inside your brain, right? They are gonna judge you solely based on your writer website. In today's market, if you don't have a custom domain, if your website looks unprofessional, if it's not selling, you're gonna have a really hard time standing out and getting clients. That is why it is so incredibly important. So incredibly important to have this. So we've got the hero section, right? We know about the 3-second test and passing that. Now that being said, the thing is, you gotta approach every single section of your website this way. Every single section of your website must be just as strategically structured to convert the clients you pitch in cold email, okay? Really important that every single section is there for a reason. Like I said, it's more like a landing page or a sales page than it is like what you would think of like a portfolio or a resume site or whatever, right? It's two very different approaches that will yield two very different results. It's not enough to just have the top section of your homepage done right. You actually need trust signals throughout your website. That is what proves to clients you are trustworthy and that they should work with you. So I'm going to be sharing the trust signals thing is like a long thing. It's very detailed. It's very in-depth. I literally take you through the entire client journey, what the client goes through, and how to use marketing psychology to trigger them to trust you. That is something I'm going to be teaching in my free live class on April 22nd. It's going to be a lot more like structured, boom. We're going through the slides. We're flying through it. And it's going to be a limited time availability only class, not like these other classes that I do here on YouTube. So definitely sign up down below, register now because the replay is only going to be available for free for a really limited time. You'll get the link to the replay too as long as you register. So head down below and register, or you can go to this link right here, bit.ly/5K writing live class. So step number 3. Actually, before I get to this, let me look at the chat here. Let's see. The question about a site came up, and not everybody believes they're worth it for freelancers, but most of my prospects, this is their first question. Do you mean like their first question is like, what's your website URL? Because that's definitely a common thing. Yeah, it's super important in today's market. Like your website is essentially your resume, right? I hate to put it like that because it shouldn't be anything like a resume, but your website is the thing that sells you. Like a resume sells you to get a full-time job, your website sells you to get a client. So it's really important. Albert says, it seems to me that the hero section of the homepage is essentially your elevator pitch. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. You were just like taking all the jumbled dots in my brain, Albert, and like making them nice and clear and concise. That's how I know you're a writer and you've been doing this for a long time. So thank you for putting it like that. Absolutely. You think of it like your elevator pitch where you got to have all those elements in there, and then the face image of you builds trust. It makes you appear professional, lets them know that you're not just like some crappy AI agency, things like that. So on to step number 3, avoid job boards and cold email instead. Because let's be honest, job boards are a total mess in 2025. They're overcrowded with cheap writers and full of so-called clients. I call them so-called clients because it's really not a professional situation at all, where they are just being super rude to you and only want to pay you like $20. Not a situation any of us should be in. Even other strategies that used to work well in the past, like Facebook groups and LinkedIn DMing, are now outdated, oversaturated, and ineffective. That is why you got a cold email instead of using the job boards. So instead of wasting time applying to jobs, cold email, because that is what lets you go directly to high quality clients, okay? Ones with real budget and demand. Budget and demand. Those are the 2 big words you got to remember anytime you come watch a video of mine. Target clients got to have budget and demand, and this is how you find those clients, by cold emailing. But, and this should be highlighted too, this little bulleted list, because it's really important. The reason for this is I have a lot of people who come to me and they're like, Jordan, I already tried cold emailing. It didn't work for me. I got disappointing results. And every time I like dig into those situations, they're always missing something. They're not pitching in the right target clients. They don't have a client converter website. Their email is not sounding confident. It's not optimized properly. Cold emailing is very different from cold emailing the right way. Again, cold emailing is very different from cold emailing the right way. You can cold email 50 emails a day the wrong way and get 0 clients. You can cold email 10 cold emails a day the right way and get a whole bunch of clients. So it's a very, very important distinction to make. Let's see. Bright Page says, I write newsletters for nonprofits that help raise the value of donations. Yes, I love that. I think that's great. It's so concise. Like, that is definitely a great start. Joey says, number 3 is so true. I wrote 1,000-word blog posts. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Was that on a job board? That is insane. I would be hassling them. I would, if you can, email them and just see if you can follow up on that. But then again, it may not even be worth your time if you're just like, well, they screwed me over. But I'm really sorry that happened to you. Gosh, that's awful. Leon says, cold email. Gotcha. Putting that on my notes. Yes. And make sure that we note too, just trying out cold emailing is drastically different from cold emailing the right way. I actually have a student who came to me. Her name is Crystal. And she came to me having tried cold emailing, getting very disappointing results. She switched to my method inside Killer Cold Emailing, and she started getting 4 to 6 bites a week from clients. So doing it versus doing it right, 2 very different things. Which is why in Killer Cold Emailing 2.0, you're not just getting a course anymore. By the way, for those of you coming in late, hello and welcome, or watching the replay. The course is opening on April 22nd, so very soon. And it's not just a course anymore, it's actually all your pre-built marketing assets to get everything done faster. Basically go through this entire process, eliminating guesswork. So it's not just a course and like so many boring videos, because who has the time for that? Like, who has the patience for that? Not me, probably not you. But it's a pre-built writer website, a pre-built client converter website, actually. As a one-click install, as a file you can simply drop in. The Niche Finder AI bot, built by me personally based on my own proprietary process to instantly validate your niche, tell you which clients to target and set your rates, and pre-written copy and paste cold emailing templates proven to convert. These are my templates I've been testing and tweaking and updating for 8 years. I put 8 years here, but I think it's more like 9 years. I've been doing this a long time, y'all. So no fluff, no guessing. It's all the marketing assets built to work together. If you were here earlier, you might remember when I said your marketing in 2025 is an ecosystem, right? It's not this is separate from that, it's separate from that. Your niche, your target clientele, your writer website, those things are the foundation. And you have to have your foundation laid properly before you can go out and cold email. Because you can have the best cold email in the whole world. Like a perfect cold email. But if you don't have the website, the niche, the client targeting done right, it's not going to convert. So it's really important to get it all done right. And that's why I've added these pre-built resources to my program, because it's like, that way you know it's done right and you don't even have to do it yourself by following videos. You just open up the assets, copy and paste them, drop them in. It makes it so much faster and so much easier. So I'll leave this up on the screen, but let me go over to the chat. I don't want to harp on all the course stuff too much, but I do want to let you guys know about it because it is a really exciting thing. Like, the students are loving all these new pre-built assets. So I'm really excited to see new folks join starting in April. Yeah, it'll be really cool. Bright Page says, I write email marketing for growing businesses in the biotech space that helps sell more products and services. Yeah, that is the format. We've got what we write, we've got who we're writing for, and we've got the end game result. And the great thing about starting out with something like that is you can get even more specific as you learn about your target clientele. Like, you might eventually, in this example, pivot to just saying biotech companies, or I don't know anything about biotech companies. Like, I don't even know what an example would be, so I really can't give one, but something more specific that helps sell more products and services, maybe help sell more blank or whatever, you know what I mean? But you definitely don't have to do that starting out. It's just a really cool, it's another one of those cool progressions that I see my students make over time. You get more specific and more effective as you work with these clients and learn how they speak and what speaks to them. It's a really cool growth process I love seeing my students go through. Albert says, I can see the pattern here. You need the website to get the clients to hire you, and so you should only cold email if you have some site to show people and firms. That is it, Albert, absolutely. And the crazy thing is, even before the site, you've got to have your niche and your target clientele defined the right way, right? So it's like the cold email builds off the website, which builds off the niche and target clientele. And all these pieces have to be done right and sort of working together properly to be effective. Joey says, yes, it was on Fiverr. Maybe I should, yeah, I would hassle them. I would hassle them a little bit, Joey, because we cannot be out here in 2025 doing 1,000 words of writing and not getting paid for it. Like, that is crazy. I would hassle them, then get off Fiverr, to be clear. Yeah, that was another great example. If you guys have any other questions, I'm almost done. We're almost to the Q&A section, so pop them in below. Leon says, I can't wait for April 22nd. Me either. I am so excited. This is only the second time I've done a full open cart launch period for Killer Cold Emailing, the 2.0 edition with all the pre-built assets. So I'm really excited. I'll also be having, I don't know if I've mentioned this anywhere on YouTube, but I'm also going to be offering Afterpay. I mean, unless some crazy tech issue happens, but let's pretend that's definitely not going to happen. I'm going to be offering Afterpay on the checkout page. So hopefully that will give you guys some more flexible options if you need them. I know when I looked, my options for Afterpay for the program were starting at just $45 a month. So really cool option if that applies to you. But yeah, Killer Cold Emailing opens April 22nd. The first 20 waitlisters to join are getting that free one-on-one async coaching. Basically what that is you submit a question via a Google form that I'll send you, and I'll send you a Loom video. I always tell people that it's up to 15 minutes, but I end up usually going 30 or 45 minutes because I just cannot help myself, and I really love helping you guys out. So those are really cool coaching sessions, and the spot sold out in less than 24 hours last time. So if you're even just a little bit interested, yeah, I don't know, but maybe, still get on the wait list. That way you get the email notifications, and if you do decide you're interested, you can grab that free one-on-one coaching spot. So here's the bit.ly link. You can type it in, or I have the link down below in the description, and I'll put it in the comments as well. So let's do a little Q&A. Let me get the pre-submitted questions here going first. Let's see. Oh, I got that from your advice years ago, free on YouTube, and it totally summarized my elevator pitch. That's awesome. I tend to be verbose, so streamlining your fill in the blanks was awesome. So that is so great. I love hearing that. I'm always loving to hear that my content, my videos, whatever has been helpful. I love putting out as much free value and content as I can. Like, yes, we all know I offer courses as well, but whether you work with me in a course or not, my hope is always that I'm giving like a ton of free value as well, and that you guys can like get the help you need here on YouTube too. So let me switch to my face and make sure that everything works when I do that. Okay, I think we're good to go. I'm actually going to check here on my, I'm like monitoring myself on my phone. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good. There's so many different technology things going on here. All right. Let's see. Okay, so there are some pre-submitted questions. I am going to get to those first if I can organize my desktop enough to be able to read them. Okay. Question. Actually, let me organize them by each individual person who submitted. That way I can say y'all's names. And if you're watching the replay, you will know that this is your question. Okay, so first question comes from Roxanne, who said, how can I stand out as a copywriter in today's economy? Should I be learning a new skill instead? So Roxanne, basically the way you stand out is what I mentioned earlier in this video. If you're watching the replay, definitely want to get that writer website up and optimized in a way that allows you to stand out in a positive way, basically. So standing out really has somewhat to do about your skill and what you're offering, right? You want to still be in a good niche and all that stuff, but really what standing out comes down to in today's market is your marketing, your positioning. And your marketing and positioning, like 95% of that is your writer website in a 2025 market. So it's not so much about like what's going on behind the scenes or what you're doing every day. Standing out is more about the client's perception of you. What are they seeing online when they go and check out your website or wherever else you may be online, right? It's all about their perception of you. And that is how you stand out, is by having that client converter website that is optimized for your niche, because you don't need to stand out to everybody, right? You just need to stand out to that one target client or clientele that has the budget and demand for what you do. So that is like the shortest, probably most concise way I can think of to answer your question. But I think even just the topics I've covered in this video today will help as well. Let's see, there was another question from XC about things like trademarking and how written data is being used. I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to answer that, just because like with the contract question earlier, I'm not able to give like legal advice and stuff like that. Let's see, the next question is from Angel, who says, where can you actually go to get the writing gigs? So great question. And again, I think it's something we've covered today in this video. You're not necessarily going and looking for jobs, right? We don't really want to be in that mindset where we're looking for jobs. We want to be setting up a freelance writing business and a business website, of course, and then going and pitching our target clients directly. So hopefully that helps. I think watching back this video will probably be the thing that helps the most, that I'm realizing I've probably indirectly answered a lot of these questions already today. Anonymous says, I've been a writer for over 2 years, but I am yet to land a well-paying gig. I have done everything by the book, sent cold emails, put out my CV, did thorough research on a job description before sending my CV, but still no response. Honestly, it is stressful and painful. The other alternative I have is by recommendation. Okay, so maybe referrals is what you're talking about, but how can I get a recommendation when I'm not seen? So first things first, I'm so sorry that you've been going through this. It is stressful, it is painful. If you've been trying this for 2 years and you haven't landed a well-paying gig, it's really important to take a step back, zoom out, and look at the big picture of what are you doing for your marketing. So I think, again, this is something that I've addressed a little bit in this video today. But if you are in this situation, and for anybody listening who's in this situation, like, it's important to step back and go, I am not the problem. You've been a writer for over 2 years. I'm guessing you said you don't have a well-paying gig, but I'm guessing you've had some gigs. you are not getting gigs because you're a bad writer. It has nothing to do, I would almost guarantee, it has nothing to do with your writing skill. It is all about your marketing and, again, that perception the clients have of you. So you're saying you're putting out your CV, you're looking through job descriptions. What I'm kind of seeing when I'm reading through this is that you are approaching this a little more like your traditional employee-employer relationship, when what you want to be doing is setting up a professional freelance writing business and then going and cold emailing and pitching your target clients directly. And I know you've said you already sent out cold emails, but what I would ask you or encourage you to kind of ask yourself and maybe reflect on is, do I have a profitable niche that's recession proof and AI proof? Do I have a profitable target clientele? Am I cold emailing the right way? Do I have a properly optimized client converter website? If you got all 4 of those things, then we can talk. But my best guess would be that 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe all of those things, there's something we need to change a little bit. So, well, there's no name. Anonymous, if you have a follow-up question on this, definitely let me know. Pop it in the comments. Let's see. Let me take a look at the chat because, let's see. I know you guys are saying a few things. Bright Page, what is Afterpay? It's just like it's like a payment plan, basically. I don't know how to explain it very well. But it's basically just like a third-party company that I've been able to use to offer more flexible payment plans versus my in-house payment plan, which is like $137 a month. Afterpay is a little bit more flexible and the payments are able to be a little bit lower. So I was so excited to add that in last year. It was highly, highly requested. Let me see if I can get the next question up here. And of course, you guys, there's not that many pre-submitted questions because this was such a last-minute thing. So if you guys have any other questions, if you're watching, pop them in the chat and I will do my best to help you. So Anonymous says, how can I research to know which niches will be in demand in 2025 and beyond? We talked about this some today too, but basically you can follow online resources such as myself, kind of think about what niches thrive even during periods of economic downturn. So like I mentioned earlier in this video, things like healthcare, insurance, mental health, etc. Like we've had brought up in the chat by Bright Page, who has been so awesome, like such a helpful person in the chat today. Thank you so much, by the way. Biotech, things like that are like the future focus, basically. Those kind of things can be really cool. But basically what I would start with is just researching or even just sitting down and making a list of like what companies thrive during recessions, what types of companies fall under that umbrella or whatever. And then think about the future of those type of companies. Do they have like a stable future? Because again, we want to look for stability, and then within that niche topic, because we can't just stop, like I said, at picking a niche, right? We've got to also take it a step further and go, okay, here's my target clientele in this niche that has the budget to pay me well and the demand for what I am doing. So if you consider all those things, I think you will be on a good path to getting your niche at the place it needs to be. All right, there is just one more question actually that was pre-submitted. Anonymous is saying, I guess this is a different Anonymous. Let's see. How would you go about pitching to marketing agencies? Do you need to take a different approach than you would with other businesses in your niche? I love this question. You would take a slightly different approach because you basically want to let them know that you are able to help their specific clients. A lot of marketing agencies are niched as well because it's just smart marketing, right? So let's say you are pitching a healthcare marketing agency, right? You would still position your niche the same way. I'm a healthcare copywriter. Throughout your cold email, I have those templates inside of my program. And then you would have your website optimized again the same way. Now, I wouldn't recommend optimizing your website for pitching agencies. Like, I help marketing agencies, whatever. You still just optimize it for your niche. I help healthcare companies, right? Because you can, if you help healthcare companies, you can also help marketing agencies who pitch and help healthcare companies. Does that make sense? Because it's their client. So you don't actually need to optimize your stuff and say, I help marketing agencies or whatever. But as far as pitching, it works really, really similarly. Actually, inside of Killer Cold Emailing 2.0, I have 3 different cold email templates for 3 different scenarios. So I think going through those will be really, really helpful if you're interested in joining. But it is almost the same thing. You're going to pitch yourself by positioning your niche, link out to your niche optimized writer website and all that good stuff, where all the marketing ecosystem, like I've been saying, still kind of all works together. I think that's the last pre-submitted question. I hope that everything I'm saying is making sense. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to switch back over to the chat. Let's see. Leon says, mine is tech and how-to guide since so much is happening in tech trends. I think that's great. And something else that I should maybe have mentioned in this video too is like, it is so common and often a very, very good thing to pivot your niche over time, right? So let's take your example here. For example, Leon, you're doing tech how-to guides right now. Well, maybe one day you end up writing for a biotech company that falls under that umbrella, and you're like, actually really like writing for biotech companies and they pay a lot more. And then you could switch your niche to writing biotech how-to guides. And then maybe after that, 6 months down the road, you're like, you know what, this is cool, but like biotech companies really, I think, would pay a lot more and benefit a lot more from email newsletters. So I'm going to pivot to that. So you can see like basically how you might want to think about evolving your freelance writing business over time. And I'm not saying this for your specific situation, Leon. I think if you're doing tech is like a pretty good niche. I mean, you always want to like make sure that you have a good target clientele and you're pitching a type of copy that you can charge a lot for. But yeah, I think just in general, it's really great. What I always tell people coming into my programs is think about your first niche as your niche for now, okay? I'm literally like, this is your niche for now, okay? And more you learn about it, the more you grow, the more you develop your skills, use what you learn to pivot into even more profitability, right? Like, I've changed my niche so many times. I could not even tell you guys how many times. I started out doing just general copy for IT service providers. And I was, like we were talking about earlier with Joey, I think it was Joey, pitching local companies. And I was very quickly, like within literally, I would say 6 weeks, like, this is not it. This is not what I want to do. It's not as profitable as what I want. So then I switched to writing marketing, ultimate guide style blog posts for B2B and SaaS companies. Did that for a long time, years. Only recently have I switched to writing landing pages for B2B and SaaS companies. And yeah, I think it's just really cool to think about how you can pivot as you grow your niche and as you grow your knowledge. Do you guys have any last minute questions? Probably gonna hop off here in a second and go drink some water because I'm pretty sure I'm losing my voice. I always say this when I do these videos, but I like don't speak that much during the day typically. I spend a lot of time at home, like reading or writing in my room with my dog, and my husband's here, but you know, he's in his own office doing his meetings and his things like that. So I don't normally talk for an hour and a half straight in the middle of the day. It's a new thing, kind of new. Albert says freelancers are pretty much going to be sole proprietors. So people who intend to be freelance writers have to find a way to stop thinking of themselves as employees. Absolutely. That is why inside my program, one of the first things you're going to get is like a mindset shift lesson, because the mindset is so important. And it's crazy because I know when I started freelance writing, I was like, I don't need the mindset stuff. Just give me the step-by-step tips and advice, right? But the thing is, your mindset will trickle down into all the tips, right? So let's say you are treating freelance writing like a job rather than your business. You are going to approach cold emailing like a job seeker, which is going to turn clients off. You are going to approach your website like a job seeker, which is going to have a hugely negative impact on your marketing. So, like I said, that is why, as Albert is saying here, this is so important to have your mindset right. Don't have that employee mindset. If you got to fake it till you make it with confidence, join the club, because that's what we're all doing, right? With confidence, you just got to force yourself to show up sometimes. Let's see. Joey says, thank you for going the extra mile for us. Go save your voice. I will. Thank you so much for being here. Will J. Curtis says, I missed most of this live. Oh no. Will it be available for playback? Yes. I'm going to hop off probably here in the next couple minutes, and then you can watch the replay. And I'm not going to take it down. The class I'm doing next month it will be a limited time replay, but this one you can catch afterward. Leon says, I like something I'll use for future ideas. Okay. And now I'll be taking the magic pill that Bradley Cooper uses in Limitless. Oh, if only that was a real thing, right? Like, man. Let's see. Oh, whoops. Okay. The chat keeps like glitching out. Joey says, you give so much practical and understandable advice that changes our mindset as it percolates to our brains. That is awesome. I love the positive feedback. So thank you so much. Albert says, you talked about pivoting. Should writers have 3 to 4 niches when starting out? So if AI conquers one, you have the others to fall back on. I would recommend definitely not doing that and focusing on one niche that you have validated, right? Because the thing is, when you go in and you validate your niche and you have your one clear niche, it's really important to have that, because having one clear niche and one clear target clientele impacts your writer website, which therefore impacts your cold email conversion rates, right? So it's really important to be speaking to that one specific target clientele. What it comes down to after that is just having the self-trust that you will be able to pivot if and when shit gets weird, right? So like I said, I've pivoted my own niche many times, but you always want to have that one specific niche that you're pitching with, because it is so critical in today's world especially. I know I've been preaching this stuff online for like almost 10 years now. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. But it is so important, especially in today's market. Have the one niche and then trust yourself to go, okay, this shit's not working anymore. I'm going to pivot. That's what I did. Like I said, when I started out, I was like, okay, IT service providers who want like little $100 projects here and there, not going to get me to $5K a month, which was my goal at the time, right? So I pivoted into something more profitable. And then last year I pivoted again into landing pages. So maybe an interesting thing to think about with that is I was writing B2B and SaaS companies blog posts for a long time, right? After that, I didn't pivot my industry, I just pivoted the type of copy that I was writing. So that's one way to think about evolving your niche. I basically was like, content writing is kind of not the vibe right now. So how can I utilize what I already know and what I've already been doing to make a really smart pivot for something that is not being replaced by AI, that is recession proof, and that is in high demand, clients are paying well for it. For me, that was landing pages for B2B and SaaS companies. And that's a lot of my experience too. Oh my gosh, I've written so much direct response copy in my career. It is like almost all I do. I like barely write blog posts. I mean, I write a lot of video scripts and stuff like that, but yeah. I hope that makes sense. I guess learning to pivot lets you focus on one niche at a time. Absolutely, Joey. So like I said, when I switched from IT service provider copy generally to B2B and marketing blog post, that was a huge pivot, right? That was like not even a pivot. That was like a total overhaul. It was still easy to do and still it worked out for me, but it was an overhaul. Sometimes we just need to make a little pivot, like me going from B2B and SaaS blog posts to B2B and SaaS landing pages. That's just like a little bit of a turn, right? So sometimes it's easier to think about it like that because you're not just like, oh my gosh, like what if this type of copy doesn't work anymore? It's like, well, you can actually pivot and just work in the same exact industry, but offer a different type of copy. So just one idea, one of the many ways to do it. Albert says, I hate AI, so I'm interested in what works to avoid AI domination. Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it. But, in business, I've been in business for, it really is 10 years. April will be 10 years since I got fired from my full-time job and started freelance writing. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, I think the pivoting and having that self-trust, something I've learned is that you can't control what's going on in the world around you, but you can develop the self-trust and arm yourself with like the knowledge that you need to know, okay, shit gets screwed up. I'm going to know to pivot. I'm going to empower myself with this knowledge that I need to make a smart pivot. So I hope that makes sense. Brett Page says, doing great and take care. You take care as well. I think that's all the questions. So I will wrap this up, but I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for being here. Let me scroll back up on my document real quick. Let's see if I can do this. Oh my gosh, that was like 30 pages that we went through today. I did not realize it was that long. Okay, so just to quickly recap before I go, 2 important things are happening on April 22nd, which is just in a few weeks, so it's really, really close. Killer Cold Emailing 2.0 will be opening up for a really short time. This is a 2.0 edition. It's the new one that I created in 2024 with all those pre-built marketing assets, your niche finder AI bot, your writer website that is pre-built, a one-click install, and the pre-written cold email templates. The first 20 people on the waitlist who join when doors open on the 22nd are getting free one-on-one async Loom coaching with me. Super cool. I love doing those sessions. They're so much fun. Like, you'll get a video from me kind of like this basically, but usually it's not my face in it because I'm just like laying in bed, like looking at a Google Doc. But it's a really fun thing, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that. So if you're even like a little bit interested, just like 1%, definitely go get on that wait list. I'm also teaching a free live class, which I know we're doing a live stream right now, but I guess this I would call more of like a live stream. It's more casual, whatever. This is going to be like a very in-depth class, like boom, boom, boom. We're going to go right through a slideshow. I forgot the word slideshow for a minute for some reason. We're going to go through a slideshow that is very detailed and in-depth, and we'll be doing a really, as long as you guys want to do live Q&A for that as well. So we'll cover niching in 2025, chat GPT and AI, and saturation, how to overcome those problems, and a lot more. So register for that now down below. If you're watching the replay, the link will be in the pinned comment. If you are watching here live, well, first of all, thank you. And second, the link is in the description box. But let me know if you guys have any trouble accessing it. I'm pretty sure all the links are correct. Like I said, this was like a super last minute thing to do this live stream this week, but I'm so glad that I did, because you guys really came out and showed up with like the great questions. So I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's it, you guys. So definitely mark your calendar now. If you got a Google Calendar that's full of tasks like I do, click on over to April 22nd and set a reminder to join the course that day, as well as join me at the live class. Oh, the time on that is going to be 5 p.m. Pacific. So if you can't show up live, I would love for you to show up live. But if you absolutely can't, I totally understand that, and I will send you a replay if you get on the list. So make sure you go register. I'll be looking for you guys' names in the registration. Joey says, thanks so much for answering your questions. You are so helpful, but even more. And thank you so much, Joey. That is really nice. That's so kind of you to say. I really, really appreciate it. It really makes me feel better about what I do here. And I'm just so happy that I'm able to like help other people who are maybe in a situation I was once in, where I had gotten fired from my full-time job and I was really scared and I didn't know what to do and all this crazy stuff. No matter what your life situation is, I just think it's so important in today's world to have that sense of empowerment. Instead of feeling financial anxiety, having financial security, because when you really learn how to market and sell your freelance writing services, you do feel a sense of like, okay, it's fine. Even if shit hit the fan, like I have that trust in myself and that confidence knowing that all I would have to do is send 10, 15, 20, however many cold emails, and just doing that, I would get a new client. And that is the feeling that I want for all of you guys, that peace of mind, because I know anxiety is high right now, all this stuff. It is for me too. I totally understand. And at the same time, I know for me, I find so much comfort in the fact that I know that if I just send X number of pitches, I'm pretty much guaranteed going to get a client. So that is what I want for you guys as well. That is what my programs are all about. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I love doing these live streams. I had so much fun. If you come up with any questions later, let me switch back to my face. If you come up with any questions or anything later, definitely just hit me up in the comments. Let me know. I'll be monitoring those as well. But yeah, that is all for me today, my friends. I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon or evening, wherever you are. And I will see y'all very soon. Bye, guys.